When was a time that you really wanted something? I don't just mean wanted something like you had a craving for ice cream. That's me every day. I mean a big thing, a life-changing thing, something that you have your heart set on and is the only thing that you can think about. It has consumed you day and night, and you will do anything to get it. I think of when I was 12 years old and wanted a nice bike, not a hand-me-down, not a cheap one like I was used to, but a good one. And so I got a paper route. I worked every day. I saved up every penny I could. I didn't buy toys. I didn't waste my money on candy. I knew what I wanted, and I worked for it. I think of myself in high school playing baseball. I didn't just want to make the team. I wanted to play, and I wanted to be the best. And so I went to the gym. I woke up early to run. I practiced with my eyes set on glory. Somewhat comically now, I think back to when I fell in love with this one girl. Man, I was obsessed with her and spent all of my time thinking of the right thing to say, the right things to wear, how to be the best, most likable me that she would want to date. Nothing else mattered at that moment. In each of these things, and so many others throughout our lives, something rises to the top of our priority list and takes over. When we really want something, when it speaks to the depths of our souls, nothing else matters and we are willing to do anything to get it. Sacrifice, commitment, focus, determination, it doesn't matter, we'll do it all. There comes a drive within us that nothing can stop. And so here's my question for you. Here's the point of this video. Do you feel that same drive to be a saint? Is becoming a saint the thing you want more than anything in life, something that you'd be willing to give up everything else to achieve? On the one hand, my guess is that everyone will say, of course, yes, obviously, to be a saint is all I want in life. It's the right answer, and no one's going to say that they don't want to go to heaven. And yet, if we were to look at how we spend our time, what we obsess over, what we sacrifice for, what drives our every move, my guess is that very few of us could honestly say that becoming a saint is what we want most in life. And that is a problem. In the Gospels, Jesus does not say that everyone will be saved. He does not say that all you have to do is be a good person, believe in him, and go about your life as normal and everything will be fine. No. In Matthew 7, he says, "Not everyone who says to me, 'Lord, Lord,' will enter the kingdom of heaven." Simply recognizing him as God is not enough. In Luke 13, he exhorts his disciples to enter through the narrow gate, "For many, I tell you, will attempt to enter, but will not be strong enough." In John 14, he declares that he is the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me, and that the only way to follow him is to leave everything behind and take up your cross. In other words, there are no part-time disciples. There are no casual followers of Jesus. Unless you give your entire will, entire life, entire being over to him, transforming everything about yourself to conform to him, you will have no place in him. Don't believe me? Just remember that he turned away the rich young man, the one who had followed all the laws since his youth, because he refused to give up his money. The virgins were locked out for being unprepared and falling asleep. The would-be followers of Jesus left him, and he did not go chasing after them because they failed to accept all of his demands. To put it bluntly, the only ones getting into heaven are the saints. For who are the saints but those who put God first? People who lived with heroic virtues, who hated their sins, who put aside their own needs for the sake of the gospel, who did not fear but went where they were called, caring little for the things of this world. We're talking about people like St. Peter, who literally gave up his life for the faith. St. Teresa of Calcutta, who served the poor in slums. St. Francis of Assisi, who dedicated his life to imitating Jesus in humility. St. Catherine of Siena, who devoted her life to prayer and study in order to bring peace to our world. These are not superheroes. They weren't blessed with supernatural abilities or special powers. They were all of them, every single one, ordinary men and women by birth, people who faced temptations, struggled with sin, dealt with disappointment, and worried about their lives. They were once children and then teenagers and then adults. They may have lived in a different time than us, sure, but they lived in the world just the same. What separates them from us is not some innate virtuous quality that we do not have. It's not some special treatment from God. No. The only thing that separates them from us is that they put Jesus Christ and his gospel above all else. They desired it so much that they were willing to let go of everything else. So often we put the saints up on pedestals, out of reach, as if they were gods themselves. We admire their incredible lives as objects to be revered with wonder, to be praised with joy, but nothing more. With our lips, we pray to them for inspiration, but with our hearts, we remain right where we are. We put them up so high to convince ourselves that what they did is impossible for us, that we could never be anything like them because they're extraordinary and we are but ordinary. Dear brothers and sisters, if you think this way, we have a problem. It's a problem that St. Francis of Assisi himself recognized in his time, more than 800 years ago. In his admonitions to the brothers, he wrote, "It is a great shame for us that the saints have accomplished great things, and we want to only receive glory and honor by recounting them." In other words, it is a shame that we praise the saints and yet do not strive to be like them. Pope Francis wrote a similar sentiment in his apostolic exhortation Gaudete et Exsultate. In the very first paragraph, he writes, "The Lord asks everything of us. In return, he offers us true life, the happiness for which we were created. He wants us to be saints and not settle for a bland and mediocre existence. The saints are not the exception, they are the expectation." Let me say that again. The saints are not the exception, they are the expectation. They are the goal, the model, the way that all of us must follow. They are heroic in virtue. They are admirable in faith, yes, but the point of remembering them and asking for their intercession is not to worship them as far beyond us. It is to remind us that we too can be heroic in virtue. We too can be admirable in faith. And we must. We must. There is no other way to heaven. And so I'll ask again, do you have the unquenchable drive to become a saint? Is this what you want more than anything else in life? We know that the only way to true happiness is to live totally in and for God. It is not money, not fame, not the perfect spouse, not success, not anything from this world. And yet, for some reason, each of these things seem to get more of our attention than our desire to be holy. I know this, because if being a saint were actually our highest goal, our lives would look completely different. Every one of us would be getting up early to pray a holy hour every single day, devoting far more time to being with God than we are right now. Every one of us would be looking inward to our thoughts, feelings, and actions to rid every bit of gossip, judgment, lust, impatience, and hatred from our lives. The very existence of any sin would upset us to our core that we might not be as close to Jesus as we should be. Every one of us would be cleaning out our closets, attics, and even bank accounts, donating every spare item we have for the poor rather than keeping things to ourselves and worrying about our safety. Every one of us would be worried sick about the world around us that does not yet know Jesus, compelled to drop everything in order to evangelize like their lives depended on it. You might be thinking to yourself, this sounds a little extreme. Yeah, you're right. A little difficult. You bet. There is no way that we could do this without sacrifice, commitment, focus, and determination. We'll never come anywhere close to this without putting everything else second. Everything else second, and devoting our lives completely to the life of Jesus. But here's the thing. There is no other way. There are no part-time disciples. There are no casual followers with Jesus. No one ever achieves greatness in anything without this level of dedication, and what we desire truly is greatness in the Lord. It's this idea of greatness that reminds me of what St. Paul wrote to the Corinthians. Do you not know that the runners in the stadium all run in the race, but only one wins the prize? Run so as to win. Every athlete exercises discipline in every way. They do it to win a perishable crown, but we an imperishable one. Run so as to win. Seek the imperishable crown with every fiber of your being, not with physical strength, but with moral strength, with faith, with virtue, with love. Because the fact of the matter is that unless you give your entire life, entire will, entire being over to Him, transforming everything about yourself to conform to Him, you will have no place in Him. And so, today's the day. Today's the day you've got to look at your life and your priorities and ask yourself, am I all in on this, or just part of the way? Am I a real disciple, or just a fan? Am I willing to do anything and everything it takes to live the gospel as perfectly as I can, or am I willing to accept that Jesus will see me as a would-be follower and eventually turn me away? Today's the day to make a change. Drop your sinful habit. Start praying more. Begin loving and forgiving everyone with mercy. Let go of everything that distracts you from living the gospel. It's true, you may be looked at as strange by the world and even some of your friends. They may be confused by your intensity, offended by your zeal, put off by how much you've changed. They may call you crazy or make fun of you or even try to prevent you. But what good is it to gain the whole world if you lose your soul? What good is it to have everything in this life if you do not one day become a saint in heaven? Today's the day that you quit being a part-time Christian and you start giving everything to Jesus.